So I am super excited to be with Aurea. I always say her name a little funny. Aurea. Yes, I got it right.
Yeah, perfect.
Yes. We've got something really special. This is a special time for Miracles, Magic, and Coffee, our podcast. And it is a time for a little bit about miracles and what I'm very excited to talk to Aurea because she's had a bunch of experiences that are miraculous, and I want to dive deep into it. And so you before we got on screen, we were talking a little bit, and you were talking about something with the Matrix and your ideas around it. Can you first welcome and want you to introduce yourself, and then I'd love to just dive right into your thoughts on what you were just talking about.
Okay, yes, I'm Aurea Veris, long time Baha'i who came to a point in my spiritual development where I recognized that as hard as I tried, I could not accomplish the things that were laid out in my writings. And that was unacceptable for me. I was seeking the promises. Okay, so let's say, to put this in a generic format, the desired outcome, okay, on a spiritual path is to achieve a state where one is in deep communion with one's source all the time. Okay, that's being an ascended master, right? Let me put it this way. Okay. This is really cool. This is straight out of the Course. Heaven is not a place nor a condition. It is merely the awareness of perfect oneness. That's it. So in this world, we've diverted our attention so solely, basically, most of us, to the things of the world, our bodies, our egos, things, it's become so ingrained and so habitual that we can't take our attention off of it. Our mind keeps going back habitually to, okay, I've had objects around me, I'm looking at a screen right now, I'm thinking about what happened a moment ago or yesterday or last year, I'm making judgments, all of this stuff, okay? No matter what you think of, it's part of the world, okay? So the shift comes when it's not just a shift from negative to positive. It's a total domain shift, a total paradigm shift from focusing on the world, looking at the world to supply your desires, the things you think you need, right? And instead realizing, oh, I've gone down those same alleyways and they always are dead ends. Maybe I need to take the red pill, like in the Matrix. There is something wrong with the world. I don't feel like I fit here. So some of us pray and we have a connection to God. Some of us just desire wholeness. No matter where you're at in that, it's a universal thing that happens, a universal occurrence, where you come to a point in the road where the road branches. You can either keep on going away into nothing by continuing along with the unfulfilling adventures of the world, the serial adventures of the ego. Or you can say, wait a minute. What if there's something else? There must be a better way. And then don't try to fill in the blank, because that's when the miracle can find you. And the miracle is nothing more than a collapse of time and space.
Yeah, you mentioned the Matrix movie before we went live about how can you describe that scene about realizing that's like there's something wrong in the matrix, and then something happens at that point?
Yeah. So I'm just going to talk about my own personal experience.
That sounds great.
Right. So I was being what I thought was a very dedicated Baha'i. It was rigorous, and I did everything in my power because I really, really wanted this communion. I wanted to disappear into the love of God. I wanted to have these gorgeous experiences. It's like, hang on, I pulled it up, but it's nowhere to be found. That's okay. I'll just recite it. Thy paradise is my love, thy heavenly home reunion with me. Enter therein and tarry not. This is that which we have destined for thee in our kingdom above and our exalted dominion. Whoosh. I just got a little rapture attack. So that's your natural state. Is not the one that most humans are currently living. Your natural state is to be as God created you, right? So everything that is overlaid on top of the light, the bright light that you are, the light of your mind, there's all kinds of clouds, on top of that. That's the stuff of the ego, the stuff of the false self that we've had to create in order to kind of get along in this world.
Yeah.
Right? So in order to undo that, I found that what I needed was a mind training. So I had this devastating experience and whoa, nothing's working. And I felt completely devastated. I mean, completely. I got down on my hands and knees and I prayed for 2 weeks, and boy, was I surprised by what happened. Someone came knocking on my door, and I opened the door, and it was an old friend who had been away to this miracle academy that no longer exists. It was like Brigadoon. It arose out of the mist. And then when I left, it disappeared. So not that I had anything to do with its disappearing. Its time had come and gone. And we find ourselves, in a new cycle, which is the cycle of the Great Awakening, where more and more and more of us are coming to this point and saying, hey, I want the more. I want what I actually came here for. I know I'm not this. I'm not happy. I'm not happy being this small, squished down version of myself, right? So if you notice any sadness at all, that's what it is. If you notice any fear at all, that's what it is. You're relating to yourself in such a way that is not helpful. So sweep it off the plate and ask for something new. So I asked for something new. Friend walked in, showed me the light in his eyes is what captured me. And he invited me to a Course in Miracles gathering that he had thrown together at the spur of the moment. And some guys came from this place in Wisconsin, and these two teachers just blew me away. Within 45 minutes, the first master teacher I encountered was a woman who was about my age, which at the time was mid-40s. She talked for 45 minutes, and then she said, all right, everything she said, I have to preface by saying, was kind of a moment where I was having a present memory. And I kept, it was like, how could I have forgotten that? Things like, you brought this world with you when you came, and you take it with you when you go. There is nothing outside of you. You are connected to everything that ever was or ever could be. Love is the sum and substance of all reality. And so she went on for a while, and then she put on some music. One of the other teachers who was there came up behind me, clapped her hands above my head, and oh my gosh, I started jumping up and down like a 3-year-old. I kid you not. I felt like I had suddenly been just sprang into heaven. And I couldn't control myself. I got so happy. So, we calmed down, took the music off, and she said, okay, we're going to break for lunch. And She pointed to me and she said, "You go look at yourself in the mirror. You look really different." So when I looked in the mirror, I went out and looked in the mirror. There was a light in my eyes that I'd never seen before, and I could feel a light in my solar plexus that had been awakened. Not only that, but my total experience of a reality had shifted into what I can only describe as pure, unadulterated peace. Just this very internal, calm, quiet, certain. I didn't feel like I needed to talk. Like talking was sort of irrelevant. I was in pure experience. And, you know, I walked out to the nature trail and looked up at the trees, and there were the everything was like pulsating with the colors were brilliant, and everything seemed to have depth, and it was like the bushes were like a waterfall almost. And I mean, I was just like observing this and realizing, okay, I need to know everything these guys know. I'm going to follow them around wherever they go, and that's it, because this is what I've been looking for all my life. So I'm eventually moved to Wisconsin, spent 12 years there, and in the course of that time, I had a number of pretty wild, non-ordinary experiences. So
Yeah.
my whole message is that I'm nobody special, and you know, this can happen to anyone.
Yeah. And well, I thank you for being here, and I feel it. And that was the thing when I heard part of the story that you haven't even told yet. I don't know if you'll tell it or not, but I was like, okay, I gotta listen to Aurea and hear more about this, because that whole idea, like working for this and working for that and working hard, but there's a reason behind that. Like, what are you really searching for? And I love the way you said, you know, it's like this whole, it's like a whole different paradigm. You're not going to find it in this way. There's a whole different way. And you had an experience that I don't know if it's in on your website. I'll put the link in the description, oraea.com.
Yeah.
The description of this, but when you were telling me about it, I had an experience, and so I would love for you to share anything you want about that experience of what happened, and then I'm just curious about that, because I feel it right now, at least something. I feel something right now, and people watching are probably feeling something if you're at all, you know, noticing. But yeah, do you want to say anything about like what happened to you as along this journey that something shifted where it's like you didn't, you like you said, take the red pill or the blue pill. You went down this other road, and something quote unquote happened.
It was just like Neo encountering Morpheus for the first time, right? He's been found, right, by the Morpheus people, the people who have unplugged from the matrix, just like I was found by those beings who were unplugged from the world, which has an influence on directly, because it's kind of a transmission kind of thing. And okay, hold on one second. There we go. All right, so now I'm stepping back into my light, because there we go. That's where I find all of us. You, anyone who might be listening, there's a core of light that runs inside of you. Now, I never had any of this before. So my dividing point was just like at Neo's, where I knew there was something wrong with the world, something wrong with what was happening, not necessarily something wrong. I just knew I needed something from beyond my little
Like this
circumscribed.
wasn't working the way you, yeah.
So I guess I asked the right question, because some beings, I can only call them that, they showed up. and imparted this experience to me. So I followed them to an event that they were having in San Francisco. I had 5 days of this event. Every day I kept going higher and higher and higher. And I kept thinking, there's no way I can get any higher than this. And sure enough, the next day I would go even higher. Well, the last day, the master teacher, who was one kind of in the center of this whole group, he said, you know, some of you are going to come to a full awakening. And I immediately knew that I would. And I didn't know how or what that would look like or anything, but okay, so I go to the airport. It was a very strange experience at the airport, delightfully so, but not usual. Got on the airplane. That was also very strange. Had a very amazing airplane ride, which was almost like going into heaven. Like when the plane took off, it felt like I was floating up into heaven. The clouds were pink. It was dawn, and there was energy that was coming into and out of my body, and other people. You know, there's really no other people, but because we're all connected. So, and I was like changing my mind about everything, which is how a miracle works. You have a thought, you've defined, you've judged, so you catch yourself in the act. Stop judging. And then you wait and you go, wait, I need another way to look at this. And this can all happen like that, like a twinkling of an eye. Or you can do it like if you're just kind of getting the hang of it, you just slow it down and do it step by step. By this time, I had been sped up to the point where it was happening automatically. I was hearing a voice in my head, which I've come to recognize as the voice, the one voice that we all hear. God's voice speaking through the Holy Spirit that's never ceasing. So he was giving me step-by-step instructions all throughout this whole plane ride. And then I get off the airplane. He says to me, this voice, you're about to speed up. And I'm like, okay. You know, I was taking it in because it seemed very matter of fact to me in the condition that I was in. I was not like, wow, there was nothing about that. It was all just, yes, I'm very certain this is what's happening. So I walked through this, you know how you walk through gates to go get baggage and at the baggage claim. So I'm coming through, you know, so I go through one gate, and it was just like the humor of God is ridiculous. You'll see. It was like this energy bloop just stripped away, and all of a sudden all the atoms and everything was just bouncing and vibrant and bright. I barely got a chance to take note of the changes because I passed through another gate, and it was just like with one foot I had myself, and the next step I was gone. The veil stripped away, and my body, everything, all the images I was looking at just blew into the most gorgeous, undulating, waving sea of energy, of this unspeakable love, of rapture, of ecstasy, of communion. And there were just like one continuous total thought of God after another, you know, just nothing. It wasn't connected to the past. It didn't have anything to do with my memory. It was a current memory. And I came to recognize that I must be meeting myself as God created me. I literally had resurrected to my original self, right, in the current present moment. So this period in the ocean lasted for a time, but this is how it ended. And this will kind of give you an idea of why we need a mind training. I said to myself, because I was loving this experience, rapture, who wouldn't love that? Being totally unspeakably, endlessly loved by God, by this, you know, by this energy field that you absolutely know that this is the way it always was. This is what's actually here, and it's going on now, right now for you, right now for me. That ocean of bliss, and you're smack dab in the middle of it, right? Think about that. Okay. That's what's happening. And in that moment, I knew it was real because it was happening to me. And there was a part of myself that was certain, absolutely certain. That certainty has never left me. because of this turning point. So that was my red pill moment. When I got on the escalator, if I had any doubts about what had just occurred to me, wait, let me back up a little bit. I'll come back to that. So the way I got out of this experience is I said to myself, one would have to be very sober in order to maintain an experience. So in that, what I did was I said one, apart from God, would have to, and then I had a desire attached to it. In other words, I need to be very sober because I want to maintain this experience. So I'm now attached.
Yeah.
And then it's like, I looked at the floor. I said, floor. I remember exactly like it was yesterday. I raised my arm. Here's where the arm came in. I looked at it and I went, arm. I didn't know whose arm it was at first. So I went, arm. And I looked across the room and I said, escalator. And then the whole world arose like it was before. And that's when I sat down and was like, okay, something stupendous has just happened to me. So I got on the escalator to go get my bags. And right at the bottom of the escalator, this, I mean, huge, not just a little sign, but this entire, I mean, there was no way that anyone could miss this. And what the sign said was, knowledge of God. Now, why would that be in an airport?
Wow.
Some people were selling books that were like religious books, and their sign said knowledge of God. But to my mind, because everything becomes a communication when you're in that state or in any of the planes that are above limitation. Once you get above limitation, your mind does not function like it once did. You literally cannot think like you once thought.
Yeah.
When having found that, I realized, okay, my life is never going to be the same, so I might as well just give over to this because I'm not going to be able to rearrange myself to make this all work, because I'd have to go back to being what I was before, and that was unacceptable since I had just been shown something spectacular and it was exactly what I wanted. So that's the whole boogie right there. I hope that, and it was a long answer.
That's awesome. Yeah. And if so if you want to see more of Aurea, you just go there, ORAEA.com, and leave a comment. Let me know, and we'll do more of this, whatever this is.
Yeah.
I want to leave some time for you to sing a song because you write songs, and and you can go there and get some of Aurea's songs. How does this so does this have any connection to because my world is helping people heal from chronic illnesses and conditions and anxiety and chronic pain and get the life they want. Does this have a connection to the so-called physical world having a desired outcome?
Absolutely. However, I would preface that by saying, when you have recognized that the world that you see can change according to your perception of it, then it's sort of like, well, nothing is static. So the world has suddenly shifted into, I mean, for me at that point in the ocean, it had shifted into invisibility. So the solid world of form, the world of time and space was no longer there. I was abiding in a state that was not that. It was complete and utter oneness. So how it helps the human body. Okay, so illness, any form of illness, disappears because when you recognize that you're not a body, you start to have experiences of, it's not that you're out of body, it's that you're fully in your spirit. And it inhabits, your body is like a useful mechanism to communicate God, to communicate light, to communicate love. And that's what your natural function is. Your function is to forgive the illusions of the world and to heal and give blessing. Let me quote something from the Course that is perfect, because this is what the purpose is. The holiest spot on earth, the holiest of all the spots on earth, is where an ancient hatred has been replaced by a current, present love.
Man, oh man, oh man.
I know.
Yeah, this is so amazing and cool. Rhea, would you like to sing a song or?
Okay, let me try out my new microphone. I went all the way to Walmart today to get this. And I'm not sure this is bad. Tell me if this
Well, your
works.
sound is sounding good to me, at least on my computer, but yeah, whatever you want to do. This is
Okay,
awesome.
let's see if I can get this microphone to work. All right. Tell me what it sounds like. Can you hear me now?
Talk again?
Can you hear that?
I can. It sounded louder before, but
It sounded louder before. Okay, wait, let me turn the gain.
it's like you're
Is that better? Too much reverb?
Reverb, yeah, too much reverb.
I need help with this. I literally just bought this, like today, and it's not at all.
It does sound kind of like the voice of God is booming. It's like
booming. Okay, we don't want that. So let me turn off the reverb. How's that?
Oh, that's better. That's a lot better.
Is that better? Okay.
Yeah.
So now I'm going to sing to you. So this is from A Course in Miracles. And it's very much in keeping with what we were talking about today.
Okay.
This is A Course.
Oh, the sound is really light. The sound is really light.
I'll play it louder. How's that?
Oh yeah, play it louder. Play it loud. 10x it. That's perfect.
Okay, good. What can I seek for, oh my Father, but your love? Let's see, hold on. For there is nothing else that I ever could really hope to find. Father, I will want to remember This we seek, and only this will be given us to find. Let me remember you. What else could I desire but the truth about myself? This is your will, my brother, and you share this will with me, and with our Father to remember him is heaven. What can I seek for, oh my Father, but your love?
Thank you, Aria.
Oh, that was my pleasure.
Yeah. So oraea.com, and leave a comment wherever you're watching it. Let us know what you noticed, what's different, what your experience was. I feel very different, and I gotta say, my next client is gonna get a very, very good session. So,
I'm so glad. Yay,
yeah,
that's
yeah, it was perfect timing for this, perfect timing. So, yeah, and I'll leave the links for Aurea in the comments everywhere, and reach out to us, and we'll be back on some more, because I want you back on.
I'm gonna go
But
see
let
where
us
mine
know if you
go.
guys, what you thought, what you felt, and what you noticed, and what's different. And my interest is my interest is how do we use this stuff? Or I don't know if that's the right words, but it's definitely my interest for some reason. So whatever you're dealing with, there's a way there might be a different pill. So yeah. So anyway, I'm gonna end the live stream now. Anything else you want to say in parting words? I want to have you on again and do a lot more with you. But anything else you want to?
My parting words are thank you very much, Ralph Haven, for this lovely podcast and service that you're doing. And I would like to return the favor. I'm going to be doing my own podcast video live stream show coming up
Thank
here in
you.
23. So I'd like to have you on as a guest and hear all about.
Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah. We're gonna do a lot of cool stuff together. I can feel it. So
Oh, yeah.
yeah. Well, let me
I'm with you, by the way. I can feel you. But
yeah,
very much.
thank you for saying that. Yeah, this feels amazing. Let me go ahead and click our live stream comment. Let us know if you want some more. Just say hello. Okay. And